councillor in Ward 52, and I know Phoenix is a massive area. I mean, there's a large township of housing developments in that area. I recall when I was in housing, and when we completed the housing development in Chatswood, then we started to move people into Phoenix, and then it developed, and you've got a lot of self-help housing projects and private residential projects. And how is it in Phoenix? Are you facing a similar problem and with similar sort of infrastructure challenges?
It's the same in Phoenix. I think the entire Teguini, if we look at it, everyone are facing this water challenges. What I think is more frustrating to the residents of Iteguini is that one is we have the aging infrastructure. The time around of getting this, they lodge it and they get a reference number, then they are waiting that we don't know when will it be repaired. There are instances of water. Now, if we're facing only on the water instance, sometimes it goes up to more than 2 days or 3 days or more. In electricity, it goes up to 5 days sometimes, and people's frustrations become high now because it absolutely falls on deaf ears sometimes. And the same with water now. And remember, people coming from work, the Phoenix community, or anywhere, I wouldn't say only Phoenix, the whole of Iteguini, when they come home in the evening part, you're expecting fresh water to be given to you. And you have many needs of whether prayer, whether cooking or whatever it is, and to work for the whole day and come home and see that there's no water in it now, it's like an added list came into our lives now. And this has frustrated the residents to such an extent now, because remember, if there's no electricity, I'm not justifying, but you can light a fire or you can do something, or gas or whatever it is, and find a way to solve it. But if there's no water now, what do we do now? So the turnaround time for this year is absolutely like, we would say that it's a waiting period, that how would you get it resolved? And sometimes they don't have the part or the valve, or something has gone wrong, or the next shift is changing, and there's something to these things here, which is frustrating to the residents of Iteguini. And this is a crisis, I would say, in all over Iteguini, in all parts of Iteguini, not only in a certain area. I hear the gentleman speak about the Mayville area, but I think this is the crisis in all areas of Iteguini, that where you will find the water shortages that are happening in this way here. And these frustrates the resident, especially with children. And then you look at the chronic patients that they're in need of water. Now, I'm talking on poverty stricken now, like for example, the Phoenix area. I have a choice now. Must I buy bottled water or buy a loaf of bread? Which one would I choose now? Now, the community will choose that let's buy a loaf of bread now. And this is how it become now a choice that's put, and which is quite hard now. Lately, you saw something was going around about boiling the water, for example. Now this has brought questions to the community in terms of understanding how would I be able to solve the water situation.
Now, coming back to, I know that there is a problem with the infrastructure, the general infrastructure in terms of the bulk water supply. And I know the former head water, Neil McLeod, he had a plan in action, and I'll bring Naren Ganesh in, because I know from his dad's time when he was in EXCO, there was mention that in view of the increase in supply of water to the communities that are coming on board, because now the council is getting, or the areas are getting integrated, look at the infrastructure in those different areas, because obviously they can't cope with the water supply. So a lot of it is underground water leaks, burst water pipes. I think Preggy mentioned that the personnel, the maintenance personnel in the water department, they're not as effective. Maybe a lot of them are not engineers, they're not qualified, and the turnaround time to respond is problematic, unlike the past, that they had a lot of staff, and these staff were competent, and whenever there's a leak reported, at least timeously, within a few hours, they had the plumbers out there and they repaired and they resumed water supply timeously. In some areas for 3 or 4 days. We know the floods did create its own kind of problems, but the government has got over that. But now, obviously, the water tankers are also inefficient. Some of them are just, not supplying the water timeously, and some of them are even charging for water. So what would you attribute from your perspective as a councillor, that what's coming up for discussion in your portfolio committees in EXCO and council as the reasons for the frequent water outages, and what is the way forward?
To me, I think the reason for this is our aging infrastructure. And
Moulana Tariq, you want to come in there? Just to comment on, I know you're one of the minority councillors in council, you're in a particular portfolio committee, but obviously you will raise the issues of your community. Although you may have a coalition of sorts with somebody, one of the parties, but at the end of the day, there's so much you can say, and beyond that, you have a problem. Perhaps you just want to unpack exactly some of the challenges you face in council.
I think any coalition, if you're looking at it, must be based on the needs of the community, and it must be based on service delivery and how can it make a difference to a community. So if there should be a memorandum of understanding in terms of a working relationship that, yes, what can I get the best out to give the community and to service the community, because remember, those amount of voters have given you their vote to make sure, because people had lack faith in the political system. If you ask people currently, they don't even want to vote for the current political parties that were present. I'm talking about the 2021 elections that have taken place there. People has lost faith in the political system, and they wanted to see new people, they wanted to see new faces, they wanted to see new parties that could make a change now, because they lacked faith in the political system that was there. And many of these political parties obviously were huge, it was big, they had many of their own differences that they are. In terms of being a minority party now, we don't sit at the level of where we would the EXCO. The EXCO sits, they decide on many policies, they decide, and we should be obviously holding them accountable to these things, because they are EXCO members, they are part of it, they hold seats on this, decisions are being made there, they're part of it, they can object to things before it comes to council, in terms of it as a matter coming to council now. Now these, you also find, as you said, portfolios. Many people are sitting in many portfolios. At a portfolio level, the matter is brought. You can object in your portfolio, then you come into full council, we debate and we go hours and hours about this. But in our portfolio committee, we can say, no, listen, this is going to be, for example, the restrictor is going to be too much, or it can't be put, whatever it is. So we have these the facilities to be used there. We need to find a way to see how we can get our people, because obviously we need a municipality to run, we need a municipality to give us services, we need municipality to give us XY of our living necessities. But we need to find a way. If you ask every one of us that, listen, let's leave our political difference and let's come together to make sure the service of water is given to everyone, then we still have a political infighting, because they want to know who accomplished this. Can we not accomplish this, all of us together, and say, let's change the norm of politicians, and let's change the norm of the political arena in our country, and all of us together for this 5 years that we want to sit here, let's give it Tegwini water. And if we give a Tegwini water, we've achieved our goal for being there in council. And we've been there to achieve, this is what we want. But we too now, we want to, slander each another, we want to fight. Yes, I also believe that, yes, each person wants to grow their party and want to prepare for the election. But at the same time, I'm saying, cannot all of us sit together? For example, I have an idea in my mind. We have so much of plumbers outside. I'm talking about private plumbers who have the mentality and have the facility to probably fix. If we all of us put our get together and say, listen, there is one person in this gentleman from Mayville in his ward who knows exactly what's to be done there. Why not we consult? Why not we have a consultative forum to say, yes, have a business forum that can be an advisory capacity to all of us. Now, remember, each of us, probably I may not have the access, but other parties that are there, they have people sitting in ministry level. They have people with the GNU. You have some of their people are ministers. Can we not resolve this issue? Is this going to be an ongoing issue that how we got? Then we find certain communities went and put boreholes. Then we found the legality came out from the boreholes. Those residents were trying to see how they can save water, how they can give water to the community. Then we find, no, there is now a legality process to the borehole. Now, in all this year, how we are giving service to the community. And this is what we need to do now, is to see how we all can get together and put our services to how we can be the better citizens of our community. And this is what every one of us should have the citizens in our heart and see how we can resolve. Now, for example, the ratepayers that are there, these are voluntary people that are trying to see how they can make things happen. We shouldn't fight with them. We should take a consultative measures now and sit here. I'm sitting here today with an open mind. I'm going to shake this gentleman's hand. I probably is going to be my friend going forward, because I have to take things and say, listen, you say you always, when you come somewhere, you have to come with bulletproof vests. You got to take bullets. You got to listen, and you got to see how you can rectify the situation, because this is an error that is challenging, and it's an error that we need to see how we can change the norm and change the examples now. So to me, it's like we should all see how can we get together. I would wait for Teguini municipality can say, irrespective of which party you belong, come to a community hall. Let's all of us sit together and see how we can find this water solution to be sorted out. How are we going to make this water problem solver? And as a Teguini, if we can't give water to our community here, or religious centers, we don't have water, then I mean, these are issues that fresh water that we need, and I think it's our constitutional right to be given fresh water. So this is my take on this.